Good afternoon and welcome to Mission Control Houston and NASA TV coverage of the Progress 56 launch from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. Progress is on pad and ready to go. Everything is proceeding as planned towards its launch, which is scheduled for 4:44 p.m. Central Time. As you can see, that's nighttime over in Baikonur. It actually will be taking off at 3:44 a.m. local time there in Kazakhstan. When Progress does launch to the space station, it's going to be carrying 5,705 pounds of cargo, and that includes 1,764 pounds of propellant, 48 pounds of oxygen, 57 pounds of air, 926 pounds of water, and 2,910 pounds of dry cargo, including food, supplies, and spare parts. Seeing here some photos of the vehicle being integrated at the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan in preparation for this flight over the course of the past week. And here's a photo of it being rolled out on Tuesday to the launch pad.
That's the difference between Soyuz and Progress.
Now seeing some live video from Kazakhstan of the Progress 56 on the launch pad, ready to go. Again, that launch is scheduled for 4:44 p.m. Central Time. And of course, on board the International Space Station, waiting for it, we have the Expedition 40 crew. Our Commander Steve Swanson with Russian flight engineers Alexander Skvortsov, Oleg Artemyev, and Max Sarayev, NASA flight engineer Reed Weissman, and European flight engineer Alexander Gerst. The crew's been up for quite a while today. They got their wake-up call at 5 a.m. Central, and around 11:30 a.m. took a 4-hour nap to prepare them for what is going to be a very long day, since they'll be up monitoring the launch and then preparing for docking until about 11, and then working the tasks that come after the docking until 11 or 11:30 p.m. Central Time tonight. Progress is actually scheduled to dock to the International Space Station at 10:30 p.m. Central tonight. This is another of the same day launch to docking activities for the crew. It'll be about 5 hours before the Progress makes it to the International Space Station after launching at 4:44 p.m. Central Time. Once it does dock, it'll be arriving at the Piers docking compartment and replacing Progress 55, which undocked from that same compartment at 4:44 p.m. Central Time on Monday. Its predecessor, again Progress 55, is now undergoing 10 days of engineering testing at a safe distance from the space station before it'll be deorbited and allowed to burn up in the Earth's atmosphere on July 31st. Just 10 minutes to go now before the 4:44 p.m. Central Time launch. Here in the Space Station Flight Control Room, today's flight director is Ron Spencer, and he's assisted by Capcom Joe Akaba. He has already polled the flight controllers here in the room to make sure that everything is ready to go for the launch, and got the affirmative from all the support positions. Seeing a live view here inside the flight control room in Moscow, or just outside of Moscow, where the Russian flight control team is preparing for today's launch. We're now about 7.5 minutes away from that launch, which will see Progress 56 taking off from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. Progress is just one of several cargo vehicles that's now visiting the International Space Station. Of course, there's already an Orbital Cygnus vehicle at the space station. Recently arrived and just opened the hatches between it on the space station late last week. It's replacing again its predecessor, Progress 55, which just undocked on Monday, and then next week it'll be joined by a European automated transfer vehicle that's scheduled to launch at 6:15 p.m. Central Time on Tuesday. This particular one will be carrying with it 5,705 pounds of cargo. And in addition to the propellant, oxygen, air, and water included in that figure, there's also 2,910 pounds of food, supplies, spare parts, and other dry cargo needed by the space station. Just 5 minutes to go now until Progress 56 launches from the Baikonur Cosmodrome on its way to the International Space Station. It's scheduled to dock to the space station at 10:30 p.m. Central Time tonight. Three minutes to go now until the 4:44 p.m. Central Time launch. Everything proceeding as planned, and Progress ready to Liftoff towards the International Space Station. Again, it'll be docking later tonight at 10:30 p.m. Central Time. Booster tank on board the rocket now being pressurized for flight. Two minutes to launch now. Less than a minute now until Soyuz Progress 56 is scheduled to take off again at 4:44 p.m. Central Time. Everything proceeding as planned. Ground propellant feed will by now have been terminated to the Progress, and it should be on internal power, ready for auto sequence start. In just a few minutes or a few seconds, we'll be seeing the gantry arms begin to move away from the vehicle. There's the second. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Main command. Liftoff.
And there you see Progress 56 lifting off from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan on its way to the International Space Station for a docking to the Pirs docking compartment. Everything proceeding nominally.
10 seconds structural parameters of the carrier vehicle nominal.
40 seconds now into flight.
40 seconds. Flight is nominal.
Everything continuing nominally. Vehicle's delivering 102 tons of thrust from its 4 boosters and single engine. Be burning liquid fuel for the first 2 minutes and 6 seconds of flight. We're now 1 minute and 16 seconds in. Velocity should be 1,100 miles per hour now. The rocket's 4 strap-on boosters have now been jettisoned, and the Progress 56 is at an altitude of 30 miles above the Earth, 73 miles downrange from the Baikonur Cosmodrome, and traveling about 3,350 miles per hour.
Stage 7.
Everything continuing to look good as Progress 56 makes its way towards space on the path towards the International Space Station. Escape tower and launch shroud now have been jettisoned. Vehicles continuing on its course 52 miles above the Earth and 102 miles downrange.
180 seconds.
Traveling now 4,563 miles per hour. Everything continuing to proceed as planned, everything working nominally, performing as expected. The core stage of the Soyuz rocket that's carrying the Progress capsule into space is 56 feet in length, 13.5 feet in diameter, with a single engine with 4 fuel chambers providing 96 tons of thrust for its now 4 minutes and 5 seconds of operation. Back now with a live view inside the Russian flight control
Second stage 7.
room outside of Moscow. About 20 seconds away from the second stage separation. You can see here the sequence of events for the Progress launch. Next up again is the second stage separation. Should be coming up any second now. And the second stage separation has now been confirmed. The core stage engine is now finished and dropping away. About 4 minutes of powered flight remaining. The single engine of the third stage, which is providing 30 tons of thrust and will burn for 4 minutes and 2 seconds. Progress 56 now 103 miles above the Earth and traveling 8,679 miles per hour. Teams on the ground reporting that the third stage engine is working nominally. Little over 6 minutes now into the flight of Progress. You can see that the next event coming up will be about 8 minutes and 45 seconds into the flight. That's the third stage shutdown and separation. Seven minutes now into the flight of Progress 56. It launched right on time at 4:44 p.m. Central Time and has Just a little less than 2 minutes now left to go before it reaches space. Everything continuing to work nominally. Eight minutes into the flight now, less than a minute to go before that third and final stage cuts off once the Progress has reached orbit. All systems still performing as expected. And the teams here on the ground now confirming that the third stage engine cutoff and separation has taken place as planned. The single liquid fuel engine is shut down and dropped away while the Progress continues on, now at an altitude of 125 miles above the Earth and traveling just under 17,000 miles per hour. And now the teams on the ground also confirming that the spacecraft has automatically executed its pre-programmed commands to deploy its antennas and solar arrays. Now seeing a live view from the International Space Station, about 260 miles above the Earth, and Progress 56 now safely on its way to join it. Launched on time again at 4:44 p.m. Central Time and has now reached orbit. Well on its way to the International Space Station for the docking scheduled at 10:30 p.m. Central Time tonight, where it'll be docking to the station's Piers docking compartment, bringing with it 5,705 pounds of cargo. Russian cargo vehicle Progress 56 is now safely on its way to the International Space Station following a successful launch at 4:44 p.m. Central Time. It's got several engine firings that are going to correct and perfect its path to the International Space Station over the next several hours. It will be firing its thrusters for the first one at 5:31 p.m. Central, and then a second at 6:13. The ones that committed to a docking tonight, however, are the third and fourth burns, which are scheduled for 6:52 and 7:04 p.m. Central Time, respectively. That's going to set it up for a docking to the Piers docking compartment at 10:30 p.m. Central Time tonight, and we will be taking a break in our coverage in just a minute or two and picking back up for that docking at 10 p.m. Central. That again is going to kick off our docking coverage at 10 p.m. Central for docking at 10:30. At that point, Progress is scheduled to arrive at the International Space Station's Piers docking compartment, taking up where the Progress 56 left off just 2 days ago, after it undocked from the Piers on Monday. This new Progress will be bringing with it 5,705 pounds of cargo, which includes 1,764 pounds of propellant, 48 pounds of oxygen, 57 of air, 926 pounds of water, and 2,910 pounds of food, supplies, and spare parts. Expedition 40 crew is up and will be ready for its arrival, again scheduled for 10:30 p.m. Central Time tonight. And once more, our coverage will pick back up at 10:30 p.m. This is Mission Control Houston.